everybody. Welcome to the Somerville Job Creation and Retention Trust meeting of August 27th, 2024. My name is Annika Van Eaton, and I am the managing trustee of the Job Creation and Retention Trust. And I call this meeting to order at 6:36 p.m. On March 29th, 2023, Governor Healy signed into law a supplemental budget bill which extends the temporary provisions pertaining to the open meeting law to March 31st, 2025. This extension allows public bodies to continue to hold meetings remotely without a quorum of the public body physically present at a meeting location, and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. This meeting will be recorded and will be a public record. I will now ask the board members to confirm they are in attendance in alphabetical order. Thomas Bent.
Present.
Vicky Quates.
Present.
Silvana Dinka. Jim Hatchie. Jacob Luria. Wilfred Mba. Rachel Nedkarni.
Present.
Annika Van Eaton, present. Rand Wilson.
I'm here.
Let's see. So we have quorum. Do we have quorum?
Yes, we have 6.
We have 5.
Tom,
Vicky, unless I missed somebody. Tom, Vicky, Rachel, me, Rand. Someone
and
else?
Will. And Will.
Oh, I didn't hear Will. My apologies, counselor. All right. Okay, I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna reorganize my little window here so I see you guys a little bit bigger. And then, oh yeah, now, wow, you're like in high def. And I'm in high def, we're all in high def together. Okay, we have quorum. I will now ask city staff to present a few house rules about using the technology. William, take it away to talk about our unique environment.
Thanks, Annika. So, as you all know, my name is William Blackmer, and I am the serve as the staff to the Job Creation and Retention Trust. I can also turn my camera on. Oh, there we go. Can you see me now?
Yep, yeah, I can.
Okay, great. Hi. I serve as staff to the Job Creation and Retention Trust. Tonight's meeting is being held using a hybrid format, so we ask for your patience as we navigate the setup. When an agenda item is being presented, presentation materials will be displayed on the screen. If the chair is asking for public comment, please raise your hand. We can note who's raising their hand here in the room, and then also you can raise your hand using the Zoom function if you would like to speak, and you will be unmuted one by one and given 2 minutes to speak. All votes taken tonight must be roll call votes with both a motion and a second. And the chair will call on each board member for a yes/no vote in alphabetical order. For those that are joining on Zoom, comments that you type into the chat box will be part of the public record. And one-to-one chat has been disabled on this webinar to comply with the public records law. So I'll pass it back to Annika for the first agenda item.
Awesome, thanks, William. So our first agenda item is our classic review and approve of the previous meeting minutes. So attached in our meeting materials was a draft of the meeting minutes from the meeting on July 16th. Are there any edits or revisions to be made before approval? Okay, not seeing any.
July 16th meeting minutes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the table. Okay, so I'm going to spin us back to our approval. So all in favor of approving the meeting minutes, vote aye. Tom Bent.
Yes.
Okay. Vicky Coates.
Yes.
Alrighty. Got a little bit of an echo. Counselor Mba.
Yes.
Alrighty. Rachel Ned Carney. Oh, I can't hear you, but I'm guessing you said yes?
Yes.
Okay, super.
Mhm.
And I was actually not here, so I'm gonna abstain. Rand Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. 5. I can't believe we've been doing this for 4 years and I still can't always remember what votes count as what, but that was the majority, right? So I think that measure passes. Alrighty. Okay, so our next update is we are going to review our received and estimated linkage fees for 2024. So William, if you could put that up on the screen and walk us through where we are as far as our funds available.
All right, so on the screen, you can see the linkage fees that have been received since the very beginning. We don't have any new fees to report on since the last meeting. The trust balance is indicated here on the screen, just over 250,000. And that is down a little bit from last time because of the $100,000 commitment that was made to the post-secondary success program. We still have a number of development projects that we're expecting payments in the near future. So we're looking to see that number go back up, but that's the current status of the uncommitted funds.
Thanks, William. Do any of the board members have any questions?
Yeah, Counselor Mba.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm just kind of like,
Can't hear anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the speaker is. If you're speaking, we can't hear you on the virtual.
So we here's let me try this one.
Okay, let's try one more time.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Yes, so.
Oh, it's pretty echoey.
Exactly.
I can hear you, but it's an echo. I'm wondering if when folks ask questions, we can, I don't know if it's stepping up closer to the computer is what would be helpful. I'm not sure, but it's like a little echoey, right, Rand? Is that the same for you? Yeah.
Do I echo again now?
I'm gonna try one more. All right, can I see?
Yeah, Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, keep going.
Wow,
That
yes,
sounded
yes,
okay.
yes. Excellent. This is like some magic, sir. Yeah, so I was saying that I mean, the background here is okay for us, right? So at our March and April meetings, we had previously estimated that the trust will receive an inflow of 2 million more in calendar year of 2024. And a longer term inflow of 7 or 8 million in the next 3 or 4 years from projects that are in the permitting and construction pipeline. And we now have data that shows that 11 commercial and lab development projects, which have received planning board or zoning board of appeal approval, but are delaying getting permits. Plus the project on, I think, 15 McGrath that has stopped construction, and the buildings in Boynton and Assembly that have no tenants and will probably delay their certificate of occupancy. So I think there's quite a lot of projects that, maybe total about maybe 3 million square feet, that will have linkage fees aggregating to over like $7 million. So what is the impact of our future revenue flow of all these slightly delayed projects? And just to add to that, like, with this, like, we will fall short, like of some of our obligations.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer the pipeline, please?
Yeah.
So to answer the pipeline, what we're seeing is that the projects that are in construction, they will still finish out and make their payments. They will get those COs. We are actively working with several of those folks right now to finalize their COs. So we expect we'll see probably 5 or 6 COs issued in the next 6 months or so. The ones that have not started construction are on pause. So what the list William's been tracking here, showing that under construction, those are all showing as numbers that we're gonna get in. And then I think, William, you've taken off the rest. Is that right?
So you still have 2.7 million coming in this year, right? Altogether.
Yeah.
Sorry, should I? Can you hear me at home?
Yes.
Okay. Were you guys able to hear Rachel as well?
Yeah, I think I got the gist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to kind of comment on that, the 2.7 million here is the amount that we're feeling confident about, again, because those were mostly second half payments that we're expecting to come in soon, and we know these projects are close to certificate of occupancy. The 2025 and beyond picture is the piece that's looking less clear than it did several months ago, because we don't know the timeline of those projects and how soon they may be interested in moving forward. Rand has a hand
Yeah.
raised.
Rand, what's up?
Do you have a spreadsheet for 2025?
No, so 2025 is really where we don't really have the predictions yet, because that would mean projects that are breaking ground, and we don't really have a sense of which projects might be breaking ground within that time frame.
William, you want to remind
Yeah.
everybody, exercise we did a couple of meetings ago, we agreed to kind of set aside about $1 million for 2025. So,
Continue
yeah,
some of the programs that keep going.
yeah.
Because we were anticipating that.
Thank you.
Okay. Board members have any other questions about the spreadsheet or linkage fees? Alrighty. So next up, we have an update about our RFP on contextualized ESOL and adult basic ed. William, could you give an update representing
Sure.
the update from the subcommittee? Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So the update regarding the contextualized ESOL and adult basic education subcommittee is that the subcommittee met earlier this month to review the proposals that we received in relation to this RFP. The RFP closed around the middle of August. And so we had kind of an ambitious timeline to try to review and then potentially make recommendations for funding to the full board. So we did get 2 proposals, and both of the proposals, we had some follow-up questions for the proposers. I've been meeting this week with the 2 proposers to talk through those questions, and I'm gonna be bringing my findings back to the subcommittee. And then our hope is that we have recommendations on funding distributions at our next monthly meeting. So for the September agenda, we'll likely see some votes related to distributing those funds.
Thanks, William. Does anyone have any questions? Those of us in the subcommittee are also happy to weigh in if anyone has any questions or wonderings.
Yeah. Shut up. Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, question.
Wonderful. You know, for this one, I think, I'm mostly concerned about like the state free tuition. So has the state budget tuition to community colleges changed the matter of cost or student needs? You know, the resulting structure of this grant proposal, like I would wanna, can you know, speak to that?
I'm sorry, you were super echoey.
I can,
Could you
I can-
summarize the question, William?
yeah, so Counselor Mbaugh is asking about the impact of tuition-free community college, that announcement in the state budget, and how that might impact this investment. So I'm happy to talk about that a little bit. My understanding of the state's program, which is now called Mass Educate, is that it is really focused on individuals that are pursuing degrees or credit-bearing certificates. So for one example, we have Bunker Hill that has applied for this RFP, and their ESOL classes do not actually fall under the umbrella of what is covered by tuition-free community college. It's really focused on individuals pursuing 2- and 4-year degrees and that are currently enrolled in the classes that are required for those degrees. So so far we haven't really seen the impact because for the community colleges, the trust is not currently funding credit-bearing programs. Does that answer your question? Okay.
One thing that I thought was interesting in the Bunker Hill proposal is that they mentioned that they're going to continue to advocate to try to expand the free tuition program to include ESOL and, the more workforce focused certification programs. So that would be great sustainability, actually, to our investment if they're successful. But I doubt that's gonna happen in the next year, so.
Yeah, that's a great point, Vicky, that they did mention that, and if there's any way for the trust to support that.
Yeah, talk about maybe submitting a, letter of support for that idea.
Yeah.
I think we'll be meeting again as a subcommittee, and so can also follow up on this. Looking forward, William, to the fruits of your conversations, and appreciate you reaching back out to our proposals so that we can move towards this place where we're ready to submit recommendations for a vote to the board. Okay, all right. Our next topic is an obligation vote. So we know there's been a lot of interest from the board on different financial literacy programs. It's on our priority list. There have been some specific programs within the community that folks have expressed interest in. We think we're at the point where it would be important to put out an RFP so that we would be assessing different programs applying for this funding through the application process. And we know this is a priority of the board and a need in the community. So we estimated that $250,000 could be sufficient to provide financial literacy programs to a large number of Somerville residents. And Vicki and I, as co-trustees, have put this as a proposed vote on tonight's agenda. And Rachel, yep.
You hear me okay?
Yeah, again.
So.
Oh no, now I can't. You moved out of whatever window you were in where I could hear you. Still can't.
So try, we can do the echo.
William has to mute himself.
Yeah, I think if William mutes, it'll be fine. Go
No,
for it.
we still echo in the room, which is weird.
Oh, now I understand what's happening. Okay.
Yeah, so question I was, we had 257 left. And so this would utilize the full of what we were planning to spend for the year. And they give this as number 9 on our priority list. That feels okay if we feel like we've covered everything else. But I just wanted to check in with you all on the thought process.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that. And we also noted that we've got little, called it under the mattress money. We've got little pockets of money set aside, like the child care advancement one has been set aside for some, future RFP. We also have maybe 81,000 or something for a job quality initiative. So we're not spending down to completely zero, but feel like we're doing a good job using the 250 that we have kind of out there.
I also feel like our pipeline, I feel very confident that those numbers are gonna come up. By the time we're making like next investments in like January, I'm very confident there will be more. Cause I've got several people asking for COs and they need to figure out a couple technical pieces on the calculations.
One thing that maybe what you talked about, so priority 10 ties in with the 81,000 that was obligated for human resource training for some of the small businesses.
Yep.
So that's where that went. And that's the one we haven't been able to spend since almost like day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's been challenging. Rand, I
Yeah.
see your hand is raised.
And haven't we set aside money for pretty sure we set aside some funds for the It's not apprenticeship training, but
Yeah, we set aside 400,000 for the good municipal jobs, so that's already
Right.
been completed.
but
Uh,
if we didn't, say we spent 300,000 or 350,000, we're not obligated to spend all of it. On
Oh,
that
you mean like
line
if,
item.
once we end up putting out an RFP?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big number. I'm very enthusiastic about that number, but as you know, but it might not all get spent.
Yeah, I think we have obligated funding to our priorities this year. And then we have other funding that we've obligated from previous years that, like the Child Care Advancement Initiative, that we've been there've been different funding sources coming from other levels of government that have met that need. And so we've got that type of money, and then there is some flexibility around that there's money that's been obligated, to your point, Rand, and then it'll to be determined once we eventually put out an RFP as far as how much we actually use for specific grants. So I think I personally feel confident about obligating 250,000 to the financial literacy, because we sort of endeavored to spend about the amount of money that we're looking to spend this year. We've handled a lot of our top priorities as far as money set aside, and now out for an RFP for the contextualized ESOL and basic or adult basic ed. And the industry specific training. So I feel like we're in a good spot as far as meeting our priorities and also putting money out there while having some sort of flexibility from the past. So, Counselor, question?
Yeah, no, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, I'm also prepared to, vote for this appropriation of funds to support the program for adult financial literacy. It's pretty good, but I'm also aware that, there's like a state of Massachusetts Office of Economic Empowerment and State Office of Refugees, has also been involved, with this. So apparently it's a financial literacy task force, that has been meeting since 2015. And so there apparently have been some state grants to the school system in the past for financial literacy education. So one thing that I'm curious about is this program, funding, going like to use in conjunction with the state funding, or like how does that fit in? Because there's already a state grant for this kind of stuff, like.
Counselor, were you saying that there's state funding that went out to the school districts as part of a financial literacy task force?
Yes.
Okay, that's helpful context. I think this funding, we still have to do the RFP, but I think the vision would be that it would be more for residents within Somerville, particularly focusing on low-income adult individuals. And so it wouldn't be as tied to the school district, or wouldn't be for students currently enrolled in the K-12 system. I think it would meet hopefully it sounds like a different population from what that funding is targeting, if my understanding of those grants that you referenced is correct.
Yeah, no, that's useful information. That's why this is just information, so we can apply as we move ahead, that there are other different structures. How does it fit in? But this is like a no-brainer. Is it complementary to the state program, or are they mutually exclusive? However, we can get more information, more knowledge. It helps to effectively and efficiently use funds.
Yeah, thanks for raising that. I wasn't familiar with the task force. And so that context is interesting and helpful. We can look at it before we send out when we get to the RFP port. Do we see a motion for this obligation?
Motion to obligate $250,000 to our financial literacy priority.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, Vicky has put a motion to obligate $250,000 to our financial literacy priority, and Tom Bent has seconded. We will do a vote in favor Tom Bent,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Counselor Mba,
Yes, please.
Rachel Nadkarni,
Yes.
Annika Van Eaton, yes. Rand Wilson.
Yes,
All right, measure passes. Great, folks. So for this, I think we'll also need to have do we already have a subcommittee on this? I'm not on it, so I feel like we don't. I think we'll need to make a subcommittee for the RFP. Yeah, is anyone interested in joining this subcommittee? I would be interested. All right. Will, and Rachel, were you raising your hand or were you like hiding behind your hand?
I have not served on a subcommittee yet, so I am happy to do so, but I also know my calendar might be one of the worst of the group.
Okay. Savannah was very interested in this topic, so we may want to see if she would like to join.
I would defer to her.
Okay.
To everyone anyway.
Cool. Yeah, William, maybe we can try and schedule. Oh, wait, what just happened?
Sorry, we had a little bit of side talk about if coffee is provided at the meetings.
You're missing all the fun.
Oh, I know. I can't wait to be there in person for the next one.
But yes,
Are-
if Savannah is interested, I would say that's a great subcommittee.
Yeah. William, do you want to reach out to her?
Yeah, I'll reach out and communicate the scheduling. Great, looking forward to it.
All right. Okay, so great. Great. A wild crew over there at the library. All right now. We're gonna go through our next agenda item of reviewing the 2024 investment priorities. If you could put that up on the screen. Admiral Blackmer.
Sure, I'll pull that up. Just give me one moment. Okay, here's our favorite spreadsheet, or maybe one of our two favorites. Maybe the money one is everyone's favorite. We've talked about several of these priorities on here, but just as an overview, we're making really great progress on the 2024 priority list. I'm gonna touch on a few that are highlighted here that we've had some recent movement, and then see if there's questions. So for priority one, we've obligated $750,000 to the contextualized ESOL and adult basic education RFP. Again, we received two proposals and we're meeting to discuss those proposals and hopefully make some funding distribution recommendations for the next meeting. For priority three, just to touch base on that, I'm working with the city staff to determine next steps on the 100,000 that's been obligated to the post-secondary success program / year 13 program to create student emergency funds, fund workshops, and work-based learning opportunities for students transitioning out of Somerville High School. Related to our fifth priority, in the last couple of weeks, we released the RFP for $250,000 for industry-specific training. We have a deadline for that RFP for September 11th. We also did a live question session for that RFP, and so we will be waiting to see which proposals come in and then meeting amongst the subcommittee to make some recommendations back to the full trust. I wanted to give an update on priority 6 because we haven't talked about it as much, but there's been a lot of ARPA work that's been going on related to digital literacy programming. So with the American Rescue Plan Act, the city has been funding a project specialist that is overseeing the Digital Bridge Initiative, which is focused on addressing the digital divide in Somerville and promoting digital literacy. They've helped to develop a digital equity plan and are now working on implementing recommendations from that plan. Some of the recommended actions have occurred already due to the ARPA funding, including a new computer lab at Somerville Community Corporation, digital literacy classes at several sites around the city, and also the launching this fall of a digital navigator program, again, at several sites across the city. So more information about that is available on the city website, and I can send out a link to people that are interested in learning more about the Digital Bridge Initiative. Again, this is an area where, we're seeing several of these programs, the digital navigators in particular, do have a little bit of continuation into 2025 and 2026. And the city is pursuing opportunities regionally to hopefully extend those digital navigators beyond 2026. But some of the other components of digital literacy, including the coordination and the availability of digital literacy classes in the future, may be dependent on funding. So that's something that the trust might want to be thinking about down the line. For 2024, we have the plan. We're also kind of getting toward the end of 2024, but I just wanted to give this update since the trust hasn't invested specifically on this priority this year. So that's a bit on digital literacy. I want to touch on 2 more priorities and then happy to take questions. So for priority 8 on this list, we recently held an information session for the mental health training, the trauma-informed and resilient Somerville training that will be running soon. This training is for staff of adult education, workforce development, and social service providers. So we are actively gearing up to launch that. And then priority number 9, we just had a vote on, which was releasing funds for a financial literacy RFP. So that covers a lot of the bases we've been talking about during this year. This investment priority sheet also tracks the funds where we've made obligations and not made awards yet. So these were some of the numbers we were talking about earlier. Funds set aside for the Child Care Initiative, Good Municipal Jobs, and the job quality HR training topic, and the other 2 are out as RFPs. Yeah, so happy to take questions people have on our 2024 priorities and where we're at.
Any questions, folks?
Well, actually, one question on the workplace empowerment specialist position. What's the status of that?
Yeah, so We'll see. Oh, it's just gonna be this way. So there were a few hiccups in the draft going through, law and HR. So those are still working its way through the system. But HR does have added capacity. They were able to fill a key role in the recruiting team in HR, earlier this summer. So I was really, as we go through this, I was like, I gotta follow up again. So I was starting to draft an email as we were sitting here, to figure out where that is.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, I think that means we are shifting towards finalizing our date for our September meeting, where I am very excited and looking forward to seeing everybody. We have a hold on our calendars for September 24th. And I want to see if there's anyone here who has a conflict with that time.
Tuesday, the 24th at 6:30.
Thanks. Rand, no conflicts? All right, any conflicts in the room?
I can move here. Unless they schedule something like a committee meeting, but for now, but.
Yeah, sounds like not at this time.
All
That
right.
is one of the ward by ward, meetings. I will check which ward, just, it may not impact our decision to keep holding the meeting, but I will just.
Very well. We can keep that date for now, and I'll send out if we need to look for a different date.
Yeah, I think we plan on the 24th.
Mhm.
Alrighty. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our time together, folks. Do I see a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Alrighty, got a motion on the floor. A second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, Tom Bent,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Counselor Mba,
Yes, please.
Rachel Ned Carney, Annika Van Eaton, yes, Rand Wilson.
Yes.
Awesome. Meeting is adjourned at 7:18 p.m. Let the record reflect. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, William, for setting up this hybrid situation. I appreciate everyone's patience with the number of times Rand and I said we couldn't hear you. And
Yeah.
look forward to our next meeting.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Take care, everybody.